So today we're going to be talking about what types of experiences will deflate a narcissist. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button. This way, every time I upload a new video, you dear one will be the first to know. When we're talking about narcissists, we're talking about people who generally lack empathy, who feel entitled, and who exploit other people. A narcissist is someone who will step over the heads of other people to get what they want. They're very ego-centered. They are generally takers, they are not givers, and they believe that they should be the center of your world. These are people in our lives that fight. They are very aggressive. They don't mind arguing all the time. They're very into making their point and thinking that everybody should agree with them. So these are not people that can hear other people's opinions. These are not people that care about other people's opinions. These are people who think that their opinion trumps everyone else's opinion, and if you think differently than them, there's something wrong with you. These are people who double down when you catch them in a lie. They will never admit that they did something wrong, even when you've caught them. These are people who blame shift. These are people who are highly manipulative. These are people who use coercive control. Even nonverbal communication can seem very threatening when you're dealing with a narcissist, and they've said nothing, which makes someone who is being traumatized by a narcissist feel like they're going crazy, because nobody else sees what you see or feels what you feel. So this is a very subjective experience. The narcissist gets inside your head. They use gaslighting as a form of control to make you feel like you cannot trust your reality. So these are people who are creating chaos in our society, in our families, in companies, and across the globe. And the more we understand what narcissism is, the better equipped we are to identify it and not go down the rabbit hole. So I wanted to talk today about some of the things that will deflate a narcissist. So when a narcissist realizes that their first source of narcissistic supply is getting tired of them and begins to ignore them, this will deflate the narcissist, because the narcissist needs to feel in control over narcissistic supply. So when you start to ignore them, this will deflate a narcissist. The other thing that will deflate a narcissist is when they notice that others are getting attention. So a narcissist is in a group of people, someone comes into this experience, you start paying attention to this other person, or the group starts to pay attention to this other person. This will deflate the narcissist, because the narcissist needs to feel like the peacock in the group. Another thing that will deflate a narcissist is when they are not given the attention they crave in social situations. So not only will they feel deflated when someone else comes into the group, but when they are not being given accolades within their social group. So if you're not paying attention to the narcissist at a family function, or if the narcissist feels like they are not the center of attention in a family function, that will deflate the narcissist. Another thing that will deflate a narcissist is when someone enters into the social group that is unaffected by the narcissist. This is someone who's got a lot of self-confidence. This is someone who doesn't play the game. This is someone who's super real, super authentic, understands that the narcissist is trying to bait them, understands that the narcissist is trying to play the one-up game, and this new person is not having it. This will deflate the narcissist, because they won't be able to control how that person sees them. Another thing that will deflate a narcissist is when they enter into the court system, they lose, and the judge or the jury tries to hold them accountable. A narcissist does not want to take accountability or responsibility. They will always blame shift. There will always be a reason as to why they did what they did. And so when they enter into a court of law and they lose the court case, they are completely disheveled. They are completely baffled that they couldn't have coerced the judge and the jury into believing them. And worse, when they are held accountable for their actions, this will deflate a narcissist. When a boss or a manager calls a narcissist out on their over-exaggeration, lots of narcissists think they're far more capable than they actually are. So when you have an employer, when you have a manager say, hey, you said on your application that you could do X, Y, and Z, and you don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, what's up with that? When a narcissist is called out on their over-exaggeration, on their grandiosity, when they are held accountable for what they've said by someone in an authority position, this will deflate a narcissist. Narcissists are the types of parents that try to get the children of the marriage to go against the other spouse. In healthy homes, we don't do this. In healthy homes, we encourage our children to get along with both the parents. Narcissistic parents are always trying to convince their children, or not always, but oftentimes they're trying to convince their children that the other spouse is unworthy, that the other spouse is the reason for the demise of the marriage. Narcissistic spouses like to condense and distill the demise of a marriage. They don't like to tell the whole story. They like to tell the short story. And usually it's always going to be the other partner's fault. When children are involved, it's not uncommon for a narcissistic partner to love bomb the children and to try to get the children to turn against the other parent. When children of this marriage refuse to play the game, when the children of this marriage call the narcissistic parent out and say, you know, Dad never talks bad about you, Mom, but you're always talking bad about Dad. And we prefer that you don't do that with us, and we just have a good time with you. The narcissist will be deflated because the narcissist is getting the message that the children are not going to be manipulated by what this parent is doing and saying. Another thing that will deflate a narcissist in your relationship is when you start to really educate yourself and you are no longer emotionally disturbed by what this narcissist is doing, and you are relying on logic and reason to have conversations. When you stick to the facts and you refuse to participate in crazy-making communication, this will deflate a narcissist. Nothing upsets a narcissist more, in my opinion, than someone who is no longer dysregulated by the actions of a narcissist. And that's why I think conversations like this are so super important, because they educate you. Once you know what you're dealing with, then you don't have to go down the rabbit hole of crazy-making communication. Once you know that someone is distorting the facts and you should not be standing there defending what you know is true, and the longer that you do, the more the narcissist is gaining supply from you, the more control you have over not participating in crazy-making communication. And so as you gain in knowledge and understanding, and you gain self-confidence and you gain self-respect, and you stop taking the bait of your narcissistic partner, your narcissistic friend, or whoever the narcissist is in your life, this will absolutely deflate the narcissist. When you refuse to acknowledge the Hoover, so the Hoover is the narcissist's attempt to fawn after you and to get back into your good graces so that you can start the cycle all over again. And so when you refuse the Hoover, when you don't return the text, when you don't call them and say thank you for the flowers, when you don't respond to a Facebook comment that they've added on your Facebook page, when you don't respond to the things that they say on your Instagram account, or when you block them from your Instagram account, or you block them from social media, this will deflate the narcissist. When you are happy, despite what the narcissist is doing on social media, when you thrive after a narcissistic relationship, this will deflate the narcissist. When you are no longer paying attention to what the narcissist is doing, you make a quantum leap up. You have this upgrade in your level of consciousness. When the narcissist is no longer your focus and they know it, they start to feel it because you're non-reactive. You don't have this intense attachment to them any longer. You've surrendered. On a spiritual level, you've let go. You've accepted what happened. You've taken lessons away from it. You have tremendous insight that you never had before. You know things about yourself that you never understood before. When you move forward and you thrive after a narcissistic relationship, this will absolutely deflate a narcissist. When a narcissist knows you, dear one, have moved on, you are looking at this relationship in the past. You are full speed ahead in your own life. You are focusing on you. You love photography, so you start taking pictures. You love spirituality, so you get more into spirituality. You love yoga, you do more yoga. Whatever it is that you love to do, you do more of it. And as you move forward and you stop looking in the back, you stop looking in the rearview mirror, this will deflate the narcissist because they no longer have control over you, and you are no longer attached to what they're thinking, what they're saying, and what they're feeling about you. You've moved on. This really blows a narcissist's mind when you refuse to speak in ambiguous terms. When you stand in your own power and you recognize that this person is being ambiguous, that this person is using insinuations, this person is speaking in terms of assumptions and not facts, and the person that you're speaking to who is highly narcissistic is recognizing that you're not going down the rabbit hole of presumptions and you just keep bringing it back to facts, and you tell the person, well, is that a fact or is that an opinion? Did that actually happen, or are you afraid of that happening? Are you talking about something that is factual? Are we talking in smoke and mirrors right now? Because it sounds like maybe you're all in a huff over something that might happen, that hasn't happened. And I don't know how necessary that is or how much of my time I want to invest in a conversation like that. When you speak in those types of terms, you will deflate the narcissist, because so oftentimes the narcissist is speaking in assumptions, in feelings, in innuendos, and in potentials and in possibilities. And you're all flustered and you get caught up in this train of thought that is nonsensical. And it really is all to the narcissist's advantage, which is to make you be concerned about what they think. And if you can stand there in your own power and recognize when someone is speaking in those terms, and you can refuse to have conversations like that, ambiguous, insinuation, potentials, possibilities, versus facts, then you will deflate the narcissist. So to be effective in manipulating you, a narcissist has to undermine your self-confidence. And when you're able to stand there self-confidently, despite what the narcissist is saying about you, when you become so immune to insults, when you recognize, I don't have to defend these insults, when you hold on to your personal power, when you know who you are, when you know that you're not a perfect person, you're a work in progress, but that the people that love you should never kick you when you're down. That people that really loved you wouldn't insinuate that there was something wrong with you. People who really loved you would encourage you. And as you own that, as you stand in the confidence of that, then you're able to look at the person that you're dealing with and you're able to recognize, it's not me. It's this person who is trying to destroy how I see myself so that this person can control how I see myself to their advantage. When you can stand in that confidently, you will deflate the narcissist, because they won't be able to get inside your head. One of the things that's really interesting about narcissists is that they try to get inside your head and they insinuate that you're doing something wrong and that you shouldn't do this thing that you want to do. And below the veil of consciousness, you might just stop doing the thing that you love to do. Maybe there was a certain yoga class that you love to go to, but the narcissist had a couple of things to say about the yoga instructor, or had something to say about one of the guys that were in the yoga studio when you were there. So they give you this, or they insinuate that you're doing something wrong and you shouldn't be going to that yoga studio. They never said you shouldn't go to that yoga studio. They just insinuated there was something wrong, that you wanted to go to that yoga studio. And because you care about your partner, you don't even realize that you might acquiesce unconsciously. And you might just say, oh, maybe I'll go to a different yoga studio. It's no big deal. When you stop doing that, when you stand in your own power and you say to yourself, well, that's their reality and this is my reality. Do I have to agree with that reality? I don't have to agree with that reality, because this is actually my reality. So when you stop doing what the narcissist thinks you should do, when you start asking yourself, wait a minute, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? When you start thinking in those terms, you deflate the narcissist, because the narcissist is realizing you're onto them. And you have a right to ask yourself what you want, and you don't have to acquiesce and subjugate yourself in order to be in this relationship. When you thrive, when a narcissist realizes that you are having the best time of your life, when the narcissist realizes that you're not concerned about what they think about your success anymore, when the narcissist knows that you're happy, when the narcissist knows that you've gained traction in your life, you have moved on, you're engaged, maybe you're married, maybe you had children, maybe you moved to another country, maybe you took on a new career, maybe you wrote a book, maybe you became a photographer for National Geographic, I don't know. But when the narcissist begins to understand, oh man, this person moved on, they are successful, they are thriving after my relationship with them, that will deflate the narcissist. The last thing that deflates a narcissist, and it has nothing to do with you, is aging. As narcissists age, they are losing control. So much of narcissism is tied to the way a narcissist looks and what they're able to control and how they move about in space and feeling in control of their body and feeling strong and feeling powerful. For instance, a man who is highly narcissistic will use his body in a way to intimidate, let's say, a woman or his children or even other males. And he has confidence because he's a strong dude, you know, he's this big, strong person. And so he's really not afraid of getting into an altercation with someone, and he'll actually promote antagonizing someone because they know that he knows that he can handle himself. As a narcissist ages in that situation, if we're talking about a male narcissist, we're talking about someone who is becoming aware that he's not as big and as strong as he used to be, that he's a little bit vulnerable, and he's lost a little bit of his mojo. He's lost a little bit of his power. He's lost a little bit of his confidence. So he will become deflated as he ages simply because he's aging. When it comes to a female narcissists are very attached to the way that they look. They care a lot about how men perceive them, even how other women perceive them. They move about in life using their sexuality to gain attention. So female narcissists are very tied to the way that they look. And so as a female narcissist ages, she will become deflated because the aging process is taking away what she was able to manipulate in a much easier fashion when she was younger to gain attention, to gain power, and to gain control over either the opposite sex or even to make other women feel less than in her presence. The more you know about how narcissists operate, the better you'll be able to live a healthy life and avoid narcissists in the future. If you're struggling with a narcissistic codependent relationship, check out the 12-week breakthrough coaching program. You can go to my website to learn more, www.lisaaromano.com. It will help you gain clarity, it will help you gain confidence, it will teach you to set boundaries, and you will fall in love with your true self. You will become your own best friend. And you, dear one, will be far less able to be controlled and manipulated by a narcissist. Namaste, dear ones. Until next time. Bye for now. Hey, if you love this content, don't forget to check out the next video, and you can go to my website and take the codependency quiz.